Hello everybody. Today we thought we'd make a video of how we make a TMR, or a total mixed ration, for our beef calves. We have 2 dairy calves here that we're wanting to raise and fatten up for our own food source. I've seen large-scale feedlots, and they use this type of feed, and it intrigued me. I was very curious about it, and it seemed like a pretty good way to feed your calves with little to no waste. Of course, we can't go out and buy a $50,000 tub grinder and all the equipment that it would take to feed these calves, but I think we found a pretty good way to do it on a small scale for hobby farms. And so far I've checked all of YouTube, and I haven't found anybody making a video quite like this. If there are, my apologies, and they might do it a totally different way, but this is the way we've found, and it works pretty good for us, and I'd say it's pretty economical also. We've tried doing some equations on cost per day, and I would roughly say it's around, probably around $1, not much more than $1 a day per head. So that's pretty economical. We're gonna take you through our process here, and you guys comment, see if we can, if you can give us any ideas on ways to improve it. This is, like I said, this is just our way of doing it, and hope you like it. Okay, well, here we are. We've got our dry mixture that we've got measured out. When we first started, we use I try to get a finely ground corn, not a cracked corn, but you want a finer grind on it so that they consume all of it. They can't sort through. It kind of sticks to the hay that we're going to shred up in our TMR. So when we first started them out, we started them with 2 pounds of cracked corn, 1 pound of soybean meal, and now that they've been on that for probably about 3 weeks and are doing good, we bumped it up to 3 pounds of ground corn and 2 pounds of the soybean meal. Then we have an ounce, an ounce of, it's a general mineral, and it's got a ruminator in it, and it's got all your minerals and vitamins, and remember, this is a daily ration. We mix this every day to keep it fresh. So you've got an ounce of the mineral, and then we have a cup of dry molasses, and that gives the mix a more palatable flavor. They seem to like the sweetness of it. So this is our dry mix, the dry matter part of the mix. And next we're going to go and we'll show you our hay.
Okay.
Okay, here we are. We found that buying large round hay bales are a lot more economical than small square bales, and they don't take up as much room. We weighed this bale when we bought it. It's a third cutting of alfalfa, and it weighed about 1,700 pounds. And I think we paid around $90 to $100 for this one bale. And you can see we've been feeding off of it for about a month and a half. We take a chainsaw actually to make it easier to pull it apart, and we cut the bale, and then that just allows us to pull it apart a little bit easier. And then we just use a trash can. Now we do measure our grain, the dry matter, but on our hay, we're just kind of guesstimate. We're trying to get about 15 pounds of roughage. And since our alfalfa is pretty good quality, it's a higher protein, so we try to put in about 3 to 5 pounds of it. And then we go over to our other bale here, and we try to keep it all under cover to keep the quality as high as possible. And this is just regular fescue hay, or we have rye straw. But right now we're just using this fescue hay. So we'll use about 3 to 5 pounds of the alfalfa, third cutting alfalfa, and we're going to get 10 to 12 pounds of this fescue hay. And we'll fill up this garbage can, and then we'll take it over to our shredder, and we'll show you that process in just a minute. Okay, all right, here we are. We're at the grinding part of our hay and alfalfa. We were trying to think up a ways of how we can chop this hay up, and we decided to go with this earthquake chipper shredder. We got it from Lowe's, I believe. You can find them used every once in a while, but we just went ahead and bought a new one because we knew we were going to be using it every day for quite a while. We're not going to have the video going while we're shredding the hay, but you can see I've got about I think that's about a 32-gallon garbage can, and it's got all of our hay and alfalfa in it, and I'll be running it through the chipper, the leaf shredder hopper, and then we'll come back with the shredded hay. Okay, we've got our hay alfalfa mix ground. Now what I do is we've got a cement mixer here that we bought at Lowe's also, and we're going to go ahead and our ground up hay and alfalfa we're going to put in and get the mixing process started. Okay, the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to take our garden hose, and all we want to do is put a little water into it and settle the dust. And then what this also does is it moistens the mixture, and when we add our dry grain to it, or dry mix to it, it will help it to adhere together, and that way as they eat, with every mouthful, they're getting the corn, soybean, molasses, and mineral mixed with the hay. And we've had good luck with this mix. We pretty much have 100% consumption rate. We'll show you. We feed it in a feed bunk, and about the only thing that goes to waste is when they grab a mouthful and put their head up and chew. Whatever comes out of their mouth lands on the ground. So we're gonna get this mixer started, and as it rotates, I'll just spray enough water to pretty much just settle the dust. And you can kind of judge by the color. The drier it is, the lighter color. So as it gets wet, or as it mixes, we'll look for a consistent color, a little bit darker than it was when it was dry. We'll get the dry mix here, and we'll add it, and we just kind of put it in there. And that's the handy part of this concrete mixer. It runs off electric, it's quiet, and it does a really good job of mixing this TMR. And we also make our own hog feed, and we use it to mix about a 65-pound batch. Maybe sometime we'll show you that process, but I'm not going to have the video going while I'm mixing because it's kind of noisy, and then we'll come back when we're ready to dump it. Okay, we decided to show you a little bit of the mixing process. As you can see, we pretty much have a consistent darker color than when it was dry. We put our dry ingredients in with the chopped hay and alfalfa. Then we used our hose to just spray it till the dust settles, and it gets puts a little bit of moisture back into the mix. You want to let this mix pretty good. I'm saying a lot. You want this to mix pretty good so you get a good distribution of the mineral, the molasses, the ground corn, and the soybean meal. And then our next step, once we get through with mixing it, when you think you've got a good mix, then we're gonna dump it in this tote, and then we'll take it over to the feed bunk and we'll give it to them, and we'll let you all see how they like it. We'll be back in a moment. We decided to show you it coming out of the mix because I wish you guys could smell this stuff. That alfalfa and that molasses, it just smells good. And if it smells good to us, you know it's got to be good for them. And it's going to give us the best quality meat that we can achieve at a pretty economical rate.
This is our mix dumped out into our pail that we take over to the feed bunk, and as you can see, it's all mixed through, and as wet as it is, it little bit sticks to your hand, but not very much at all.
And here's the results that we get. We're almost out to the feed bunk, and here they are. They're ready for it. They start eating as soon as we dump it in there. And yeah, we're gonna get it in their feed bunk, and you guys can watch them eat on it, and then that'll be it. Okay, well, we're going to dump it in here. Sorry, Ben. This is Ben and Jerry, our Guernsey and our Jersey. We're going to feed them out as beef calves. Hopefully. Now that they're named, though, I don't know if they're going to be pets or meat. But this is the end result of our TMR. And it really is achieving great results. These calves, when we got them, they were about a month old. And as all dairy breeds, they were just bags of bones. And they have grown quite a bit in the last month and a half. And it's this TMR, I believe, is doing that. Hopefully somebody else on YouTube can show me what you guys are doing as far as feeding 1 or 2 beef calves on a hobby farm. Pretty much everything on YouTube is a feedlot, and they're feeding hundreds of head every day. So I think us homesteaders, hobby farmers, just families who want to raise their own meat and they don't have a lot of equipment and a lot of space, this is our idea of a good feed. And maybe somebody else has a video that they can share or make, and let us see how you do it. But we sure do appreciate you watching our video. We tried to make it as short as possible, but we wanted to give you as much information as we've collected. As far as the grain ratio, the how many pounds and ounces to put in, to try to achieve that 12 to 16% protein level. We did on the internet, we went on the internet and got some math equations, and took the protein percentages from our feed. Like the soybean meal runs about 40% protein, so we really needed to dilute it down with the corn and the fescue hay, or like I said, we've also got rye straw that we use. So our math equations might not be spot on, but it works for us, and I think we do achieve about a 14-16% protein mix. And as you can tell, we've had no problems with bloat. Feeding our third cutting of alfalfa, you know, we had to be careful with it. So we make sure that we get enough fescue hay or straw in their mix, so that we don't have any stomach issues. As you can see, they were ready for it, and they'll sit here and eat this until they get full, and then they'll go off under the tree and rest a while, and then they'll come back and eat some more, and then by this time tomorrow it'll pretty much be cleaned up. They seem to not want to eat it as much when it dries out. So then we just we'll either dump the new batch on top of it, or sometimes we'll collect what's left and we'll feed it to our chickens or our pigs, and they don't seem to mind that a bit. So thanks again from northeast corner of Missouri, here on 5 More Farms. We've got a couple tractor videos out there. And if you like this video, I guess, or at least find it informative, let us know. Hit the like button, share it with friends, comment positive comments. We don't need any negative. We will take some constructive criticisms, but if you're wanting to just get on here and act like a idiot and be famous by making a wonderful comment, just go on to something else, because we're not about that. So thank you all very much, and hope to see a lot of comments.